musicians who are here, they say, to entertain us for the evening. It's Laurie Holloway and the gang. Look, look. Smile, Danya, smile. A little later on, okay? Tonight's the night when all the BBC's mighty broadcasting strength has pulled itself together, and about time too. And actually, I would tell you more. Personalities coming in, and all this to persuade you to give generously to the Children in Need appeal. And we'll be asking you to phone in with your pledges of money, telling you how to pay it in through the banks and the post offices and the building societies and the credit card and by post. There's absolutely no excuse for you. We'll drive you bananas with it here on BBC1 and all over the wireless as well. And to keep us in touch with radio and local radio and all that is sweet and pure and good in broadcasting, Grievous Bodily Honeyford.
You can see how he lies through his teeth absolutely beautifully. But let me tell you, there's going to be all action from the radio stations as well, because here in the television studio, we've got 2 radio studios, and they're going to be broadcasting live most of the evening on Radio 1, Radio 2, and to all the local, I really like him, you know, to all the local radio stations. And those radio stations are as far apart as the Shetlands, way up off the north of Scotland, and way down south in Truro, one of our youngest radio stations, that's Radio Cornwall. Now, from this studio, almost all our local radio stations will be presenting their own Children in Need programmes right throughout the evening. At 10:30 tonight, Brian Matthew will be presenting his live radio show around midnight. And from, of course, this studio is Radio 2, but it's also Radio 1, because any moment now, or maybe he's even started, Andy Peoples is all set with the old razzmatazz. So let's go in and see how the wit at Peebo really is. Hey, hey, are you on the air yet or not, Andrew?
We're not. We're on in about, let me have a look, 45 seconds. This is it. This is Radio 1. We can't believe it, can you?
I really wanted to see it. What about all this pizzazz that Radio 1's supposed to have?
Well, we've got a bit of pizzazz. We're warming up to it slowly. We've got 2 guests on the programme tonight, so maybe you come back and join us when we get going later on.
Who do you have tonight?
Peter Wheeler, the England rugby captain, who won on Saturday at Twickenham, Wahey, and Charlie Nicholas from Arsenal and Scotland.
Can I you watched how Terry was a great wow, you know, with that cat that sort of flung in. Can I just tell you that 2 old sheepdogs, English sheepdogs, at a private residence for the retired near Axminster in Devon, that's Emma and William, they've given up their shampoo for the last 2 years, given the money to Children in Need, and this year they're joined by Mandy, another sheepdog. So all the money going, £5 a dog, Emma, William,
fantastic.
And Mandy, all for Terry
Richard, thank you. I'm not talking double dutch. I've got Gloria Honeyford with me live on television on BBC1. It's the Children in Need appeal. Gloria, thanks. You're going to come
And
back
you're
and
on the
join us
air,
later.
are you?
We are on the air now.
Wow.
I
We'll
had
go
better
back to
press the
Terry
button.
then.
Here we go.
Pretty dashed exciting, isn't it, so far? And almost working well. Thanks, Gloria. These here are the humbugs that I was promised on breakfast time this morning, and imagine a suite with Terry Wogan running all the way through it. You'd lose weight if you had a lot of those on the market. To keep us in touch with the news of the appeal and what's happening around the country, Franny Morrison. Hello, Fran. You'll be doing what you did last year. Will you give us the score as we go along?
Absolutely, keeping a running total. And Terry, we've actually got one already, which is fantastic. Thanks to extensive activity on breakfast television, Pebble Mill at 1, radio programmes today and yesterday, we already at the start of the night have raised £13,275.
Well done us.
Mainly on credit cards.
Well done us.
Lots more to come.
Never mind, you needn't applaud that total. I suppose it seems pretty small beer to you at this stage of the evening. But we think it's jolly good. And in fact, before we finish this particular stint, you're going to keep us abreast of what's happening.
Absolutely.
Jolly. Regional
television as well.
Now, one of the features last year that you found least repulsive was little moments of videotape, little gems, little diadems from various BBC television programmes, comedies and sports events and all the rest. We had a lucky dip. This time, we haven't really got time to dip into anything. There's too much happening. So I'm going to pick little moments from the videotape with the help of Fran. We actually have a videotape machine here. Isn't it exciting? The miracle of television. Over here, a young gent who's running through the various tapes for us. Who's this? What's your name, sir?
Hello, I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave. You've got somebody at home watching this. Your daughter.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, that belongs to her.
That's what it's
called Derek.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to pick something from videotape to entertain people because, God knows, they haven't had much to laugh at so far. Fran, What would you like to see?
Well, I would like to see something funny, Terry. I mean,
So would you.
no
Wouldn't
offence
we all?
intended.
Yeah.
But can we see something funny, Dave?
I should think so.
Right,
Okay.
why don't we see, it's only just occurred to me, why don't we see Michael Crawford doing a roller skating?
Why not?
Well,
Let's do
my
the show
goodness.
right here.
Let's see it then.
It is classic stuff. Well, you may know that over the last 3 years, over £3 million has been given to children in need. And tonight, telephone volunteers are standing by all over the country in our regional television centres and our local radio stations, as you heard Gloria say, to receive your telephone pledges. We'll tell you how to pay in just a few minutes. But first, let's find out how some of the money was spent throughout the United Kingdom as a result of your generosity last year.
Hello, a very warm welcome to you from Scotland, where last year's appeal raised just over £103,000. The money was distributed among 120 groups and a network of more than 20 individual distributors the length and breadth of Scotland. The most northerly part of Britain proved the most generous. The Shetland Islanders gave an average of 30 pence each to last year's BBC Children in Need Fund. Had this been achieved nationwide, Children in Need would have received £19 million. So well done, everyone in Shetland. Leading the race to keep Shetland ahead this year is John Anderson, who's a local postman. He's just completed an 80-mile marathon run from Unst, the most northerly part of Shetland, through Lerwick, the main town, to Sunborough in the south of the island, collecting pledges along the way. And now volunteers are manning the telephones on the island, accepting more contributions to the Children in Need appeal.
We seem to be having a bit of trouble there hearing from Noreen in Cardiff, so let's try and find out how your money was spent last year in Belfast.
Well, last year in Northern Ireland, we had almost 4,000 calls. A spastic child who'd just published a book gave £100. Old folk gave their week's pensions. Altogether, £66,000 went to 154 worthy causes, from gingerbread groups to the Perinatal Trust, which raises money for the care of dangerously ill babies. In the Royal Maternity Hospital in Belfast, they have the expertise which in the last 10 years has cut by half the high infant mortality rate. But it's a costly exercise, which is where the trust comes in.
I discovered 3 years ago that there was no intensive care ambulance available in the north of Ireland, and babies were being brought from all over the province to the Royal of the city, sometimes in a poor condition. We've bought 2 monitors and 2 portable syringe pumps and a skin oxygen monitor.
Little babies like Siobhan here are surviving thanks in part to money from Children in Need. Given a greater amount this year, we'll see even more recovered toddlers like Rachel. And just one question left from last year. Does Terry Wogan wear a girdle?
What do you mean, does Terry? Remember, every penny goes to Children in Need in villages and towns throughout the country. And you can pay at any post office, through the National Gyro Bank, you can stick it in the back of me girdle, any high street bank, several building societies, you can phone us, quote your credit card number, you can phone us with your pledge, your promise of money to help our children. And we'll give you the numbers in a moment. But first, here's the address for cheques and postal orders.
BBC Children in Need, National Gyro Bank, Post Office Box 200, Liverpool, L693HW.
Hello and welcome to the East Midlands, and for the very first time we're helping the children in need from the East Midlands, and we need your help tonight. We need your help. We're going to be on the air until 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to do all sorts of things. We're going to sell a racehorse for a day. We need a rich man to make his wife queen for a day. We'll be giving you details of that in a few minutes' time. All sorts of things are happening here, but there's an important thing, a phone number to call now, and it's Nottingham 472 395. Nottingham 472-395. You won't find that anywhere else. You won't find it in the Radio Times. But if you ring us now with your pledges, we're trying to collect £1,000 in the East Midlands. We can do it if you ring Nottingham 472-395.
Well, one of the vicissitudes of this programme will be, from time to time in the course of the evening, you'll find people staring blankly at the screen, rather like this, or going, because that's part of the game on our Children in Need appeal. You just have to get... Somebody just walked by me there. That's another thing you'll find. We do try and make it as relaxed as possibly, but at this point, I've got to give you the numbers, and you'll find the telephone numbers on page 51 of the Radio Times, and all the ways of paying on page 83 of the Radio Times, if you can get a copy, and on page 187 and 188 of CFAX, or on page 656 of Prestel. Sorry about all that factual stuff, but we need to tell you where to pay and how to do it, because I know you want to contribute to our Children in Need appeal. Now, our first guest, if you don't count Bonnie Langford, and we certainly do, is a gentleman I had the pleasure of interviewing on Wogan earlier in the year. Delighted to welcome Jim Davidson.
I'm round here, but
Where do you want to sit? Yeah.
thank you very much. I'm sorry that being a bit scruffy. I've had to rush from rehearsals now. I've got a trick for you in a minute.
What are you doing? What are you rehearsing for, then?
It's a programme called Up the Elephant Round the Castle. Which
It's a new series on...
On the other side.
Yes, let's get the garlic
The
round the
side
neck.
that pays.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're certainly not going to get paid for this.
Yeah, next week, Wednesday night, next Wednesday.
Is that why you got the haircut and all the rest of it?
Yeah, it's a bit drastic, isn't it?
What sort of a part's it going to be?
A small part.
What's
It's
the
very
story
cold.
of your life?
No, it's about a bloke who inherits a house from his dear old Aunt Min, who's passed away. And it's all the problems which happens to a young fella.
But it's a step in the direction you want to go. It's an acting part. It's...
Well, yeah, sort of, yeah.
But, I mean, is that the way you see your career going, into character parts, or perhaps playing James Bond or something eventually?
I look like James Bond. I've
You
got
do,
the gear on for it
a
tonight.
little bit. Yeah.
Can I say this trick, then?
Well,
Come on, this is not rehearsed, is it?
If you're very keen, yes,
it
yes,
now.
Jim. Does
It's
this
not
mean you're
written
going
on
to
the
throw
board,
orange
don't do
juice
it.
over everybody?
No,
Yeah,
this is
put
what-
my humbugs down. I may need them later
Now,
on.
this is a little trick, this. It involves 2 glasses of orange juice. Honestly, they're orange juices.
Yeah,
This
fine.
is, and I'll bet you £1, all right? And it's 4 cigarettes.
I didn't know you were doing the Paul Daniels routines.
Well, in actual fact, he'll probably kill me for this because I nicked it off Terry Seabrook.
Yeah?
Right. You see, right, it's just observation, all right?
Yes,
Now,
right.
watch this, good this. Right, you've got to do exactly what I do. There's
Right.
nothing nasty, right? It's good, isn't it? There's £1 on this, Wogan.
It'll go to the Children in Need.
Yeah. Thank you. I've got a call.
I hope you'll be able to call on Jim. I know you're going off to do a little jig. If you get a chance to come back around midnight, we'd love to see you. Okay.
Midnight? Fine.
Look, here's how you pay.
Take your money to a post office and pay through Transcash Free Pay 1066 or any major high street bank, Barclays, Lloyds, Midland and NatWest. They will all accept your cash, and so will many of the other banks. There'll be no extra charge, and some branches will be open in the morning. But phone now and make your pledge.
Yes, the country is full of highwaymen tonight looking for your money. Well, very good evening and welcome to Children in Need in the Midlands. We'll be popping up throughout the evening, and our number for your pledges is 021 432 5432. That's 021 432 5432. It's a number you must remember because we want your money. Now, we've got a team of willing volunteers, as you'll see behind me. They're manning our special Snoopy and Mickey Mouse pledge lines. They've been loaned to us by British Telecom. And, of course, joining us on the screens tonight, we mustn't forget that 2 of our local radio stations are pictured up for a change. That's Radio Leicester and Radio WM here in the West Midlands. Also, let's not forget our television colleagues at our studio in Nottingham. There'll be more from them later, but first, let me tell you a little bit about last year's appeal. 230 Midlands charities were given grants from the money we raised last year. And more children than ever before benefited from the share-out. Children like these severely handicapped boys and girls from Reynolds Cross School at Solihull in the West Midlands, they can now play more safely on a crash mat bought with a £500 grant. And children like these from Coventry enjoying a week's holiday in the Malverns thanks to Hereford WVS and £1,000 which came from you. Or children like those who make full use of the George 90 playbus in the Handsworth district of Birmingham.
This is, in fact, the last appearance of this particular bus, which has been with the Lozelle Social Development Centre for 8 years. Quite frankly, it's had its day. Local play schemes and day nurseries are so oversubscribed that they can't meet the demand of the very large numbers of preschool children in this area. For that reason, George 90 is a welcome sight on the streets. And now, with a £1,500 grant from last year's appeal, a brand new play bus is being converted, which can be used 5 days a week, all the year round. Have fun, kids.
And there's this play bus too. It's a familiar sight over in the East Midlands. Ashfield Play Bus provides a regular service for youth groups, for school kids, for mothers and for toddlers throughout the year, and £600 of children in need cash went towards their project. Well, also in the East Midlands, £500 went towards a rather special inner city scheme.
It's at the Stonebridge City Farm in the heart of Nottingham's St Anne's district. These children rarely get the chance to visit the real countryside, and so to be able to feed animals on their own doorstep is a unique experience. £500 was given to the project from last year's appeal, and work is in hand to extend the farm with garden areas, and also to take the children who regularly visit on day trips out of the city to visit their animals' country cousins.
Well, that's proof that your money is well spent, and whatever you send in this year will be similarly well spent, I'm sure. But we're going over now to a man who knows a fair bit about dogs. That's Dennis McCarthy in Nottingham, who reckons tonight he's got a dog that talks.
We have indeed, Alan. Well, hopefully we've got a dog that talks. There's a lot of other things as well in the East Midlands. And our phone number is Nottingham 472395 to ring your pledges in. But we want to sell this, a racehorse for a day. How about this? How would you like to own this magnificent creature? It's owned actually by Mr. Crowfoot of Leicester, but he's going to give it to us for a day. And if you'd like to own it, take it to the races, and if it wins, the money is yours. Give us a bid on that racehorse. To own a racehorse for a day, go around the enclosure with it, walking about, proud as punch.